Have a big-time guest, the First Lady of Ring of Honor, and dare I say, the First Lady of Professional Wrestling. Please welcome Miss Maria Kanellis.
Hello there.
I want to thank you for taking the time to join us. First things first, how are you doing these days?
I am fantastic. I just got the big news today that we're joining Destination America and are going to be part of Wednesday Night Wrestling. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited for everybody to see Ring of Honor Wrestling on national television. It's everywhere. Ask your cable provider. But, I mean, we didn't know this was happening, so I'm super excited about it.
Now, you have been through this before, being on national TV several times. What does this mean to you versus people who may not have, been in that national spotlight before? Is it just like another day for you, or do you feel the same excitement as well?
For me, switching over to Ring of Honor Wrestling and being a part of New Japan Wrestling, it's like watching when kids see something for the first time, or when, a person goes on their first vacation down to Mexico and sees the ocean for the first time. I get to relive everything through the eyes of these wrestlers and these girls and guys that have been doing it for a long time, but now they're going to get national publicity, or now they're going to get their first big match that their mom or dad gets to see. So to me, it's great to be able to have experienced it already and then to re-experience with my husband.
That's awesome. Now, you mentioned New Japan. You're working with both Ring of Honor and New Japan. What are some of the major differences in those two companies?
Major differences. In Japan, New Japan Pro Wrestling is the number one wrestling company. It's actually financially the number two wrestling company in the entire world. So over there, we have bigger crowds. We drive by in the New Japan bus. Everybody on the street knows exactly what New Japan is. So in that sense, we have more recognition over in New Japan and over in Japan. When we come to Ring of Honor, the crowds are totally different. The crowds are a lot more lively. They get involved. They like what they like. They hate what they hate. And, our fan base is very loyal. So there's two very different types of fans when it comes to Japanese fans and then the American fans. So there's similarities in the styles of wrestling. A lot of our Ring of Honor guys are huge fans of a lot of the Japanese wrestlers, especially like Jushin Liger or Okada or Tanahashi, and you might see some of those moves that the New Japan guys invented at Ring of Honor, or vice versa. There's big fans of Ring of Honor guys at the New Japan locker room as well. So mutual respect there, definitely.
Now, you're a globetrotter. We follow you on Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff, and every time we see someone go over to Japan wrestling, they're always finding some pretty ridiculous merchandise. What kind of Maria merchandise have you found out there that seems to be, pretty ridiculous?
Oh, gosh. Well, I mean, the first thing of all of it, and the most exciting thing to me, is they've never had a female T-shirt out before. In the sense of a female wrestler on their T-shirts. And so the most outrageous thing that has happened is New Japan came out with a Maria T-shirt, and we sold out. So it was, that in itself is pretty incredible to me. It's a very humbling thing. But as far as other merchandise, I'm trying to think. I mean, a guy came up to me, and he drew this picture of me, and that's what ended up on the T-shirt. So he was, I don't know if he was selling these pictures or what he was doing, but somehow that became the graphic for the Maria Kanellis T-shirt.
Well, that's pretty amazing. There's also some exciting news. Figures Toy Company and the Wrestling Superstore have started to release, or they're going to release, the first Ring of Honor series of action figures. So I know that Adam Cole, the Briscoes, and Kevin Steen are in the first series, and the only ones that I've heard so far about the second are the Young Bucks. But I'm hoping just for my own selfish reasons, that I see a Kingdom set of action figures. I know you've already been an action figure, but I think it'll be pretty exciting if the Kingdom gets their own as well.
I think that might be happening, but you didn't hear it from me.
Oh, well, I think you just made my week. That's awesome.
I know that Mike and I are coming out very soon, and I'm sure that Taven will follow shortly after.
Now, we're based out of the Northeast, and we get to see you guys quite often. You're splitting your time between Northeast Wrestling, Ring of Honor, New Japan. Is there any place left for you guys to go and take over like you have already?
It's Kingdom versus the world. We have been to Preston City Wrestling. We love it over there. It's fantastic. There's a tremendous group of guys over there. The crowd is really fun. So we've done that. I know that there's talks of us going over to Italy, and there's also talks of us going to Australia. So we are scheduled to be in a lot of different places coming up.
Now, I have to ask this as well, because being kind of now you're from the Chicago area originally, but now you're kind of a northeasterner, I guess is how we say that. Do you feel a connection to this area more now that you're in the Northeast?
Well, it's funny because, like, I always had a connection with this area just because, Stamford, Connecticut was always the home base for WWE. So I would come up here a lot with WWE. And, so I always had that connection, and I've always loved the falls here in the Northeast. So being now a student at Johnson & Wales University, I definitely am getting very comfy in the Northeast.
Oh, that's good, especially after you're still saying that after the winter that we had. So that's, I guess.
Oh my God, that was terrible. But everybody had that winter, and now poor Texas and a few other places are having flooding problems, and it's awful.
It's ridiculous. I feel for you guys, because you never really know what the situation that you guys are going to be. Like, you can be driving or flying or whatever, and I just feel like I always worry that that you guys will get trapped in these situations. But so far,
I have before. I got stuck in the Northeast at one point, and we ended up having to drive to a Monday Night Raw because we got trapped and couldn't fly out. But you still have to make it to Raw. So we ended up driving, I think it was 9 hours, no, it was longer than that. It was like 12 hours down to a show. It was insanity. But that's part of wrestling, and we could have different jobs to where we don't get to see all these amazing places. So I try and keep it in perspective even when we are having flight delays.
Now, you just mentioned the WWE. You were actually a part of the WWE Diva Search, and if you didn't know, they are actually bringing back that contest. If you had any words of advice for any girls looking to get into the search, what would they be?
Be the best you possible. And I think that goes for any type of entertainer. People get too caught up into thinking, I got to be what they want. And that isn't necessarily the case. The truth is, casting directors, scouts for the NFL or WWE recruiters, they have a picture in their head of what they want and their vision for a diva, their vision for a wrestler. And so instead of trying to portray something that you're not, be exactly who you are, because exactly who you are is going to be different from anybody else. And I think that definitely shows down in NXT right now with Charlotte and with Sasha Banks. I mean, they are themselves. They believe in who they are as wrestlers and as individuals, and so they continue doing that and pushing. And because of that, they've gotten tremendous fame and also the accolades that go along with it.
Women's wrestling's kind of been a hot button issue as of late. Are you happy with the way that women are starting to get portrayed in professional wrestling?
Yes, I am. I'm very excited for all the changes that are happening. I think that there is definitely more in the future that can be done and that will be done. I know that when I was in WWE, we fought very hard to get more time on television, to get more storylines, more. And I think that from then until now, because of all the pushing for the female wrestling movement, it's finally getting there, and that's exciting. And I'm very proud to be a part of it, and proud to have been one of the first females to wrestle over in New Japan. So it's exciting for me. It really is.
Now that Ring of Honor has another national TV deal, do you think it's time for Ring of Honor to finally get its own recognized women's championship?
I do think so. I think that there's a lot of females that are out on the independent scene and females that have came through Ring of Honor that would be a tremendous asset to our locker room and to our television product.
Now, is it strange for you being relatively young still and being considered a veteran in the business?
It's funny because it's like every year or every couple years, I'm like, all right, we're winding this down. This is starting to wind down. This is what's going to happen. And like, I remember last year about this time, Mike and I were talking. I was like, okay, well, maybe next year, I'll take a step back from wrestling, just work for Ring of Honor, and that'll be enough. And I'll go to school and, focus on that. And for some reason, all of a sudden, I'm getting the phone calls from New Japan and all these other international companies, and we're taking the kingdom around the world. So, yes, it's very strange to be considered a veteran because in a lot of ways, I feel like I'm still learning. And I would say to anybody that wants to be in wrestling, become a manager because you see everything from a different perspective. But it's a little strange sometimes when I'm asked advice about certain things because I do still feel a little new. But at the same time, it's exciting to watch people grow.
Well, and it's great to see once again, like we mentioned earlier, you're going to be back on that national platform, and there's a lot of people that are coming into Ring of Honor or who have been there that they've been working towards this, but they haven't had that, where you're once again the veteran where they can look to you for certain things to do, or you may have positive criticism for them or whatever. So I think it's great all around for Ring of Honor, and that they've got a good mix right now. They've got people that have never really been there. They've got people that have been on the independents for a long time. They got people like you. So I'm very excited. I think Wednesday night has now been changed forever. So we're definitely looking forward to seeing what you guys have to offer.
Yeah, I think it's going to be amazing for people to actually see what Ring of Honor does have to offer. Because I think a lot of people have heard the name Ring of Honor through either hearing CM Punk say it or hearing Daniel Bryan say it. And so now, for the first time, they're going to be able to see what Ring of Honor is really about.
And, just the word down the pike was that Samoa Joe is part of NXT, but he's also going to be doing Ring of Honor. So I just think that really the wrestling business of 2014 is completely different than what we've got so far in 2015. And I think that it's, the hottest time for professional wrestling probably since I'd say the Attitude Era. So it's really going to be good for everybody involved, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, it's always been to where wrestling is that wheel, Sometimes you're on top and sometimes you're not. And wrestling right now is very hot.
Now, you were and continue to be a very positive role model for not only women, but everyone. Why is this important to you?
Well, okay. I remember watching Lita before I was ever a part of WWE. And where I grew up, women were not as much the strong individuals that Lita is. So for me, watching wrestling and watching Lita do her thing was really an inspiration to me. So if I can give back in that way, it's really an incredible place to be.
That's great. We see sometimes, I guess, as a performer, as a entertainer, as a celebrity, it may be you don't see the results right away, but you look back and they just showed like when AJ Lee met Lita for the first time and she was like crying. And so you guys have a big responsibility that some people take lightly and some people don't. But I think it's great that you try to be that positive role model. And, you never know. Someday down the road, somebody's going to say that Maria Kanellis is the reason why they are the way they are right now. So I think that's...
Well, I actually, there's this girl, and I'm not going to name names because I don't want to embarrass her or anything like that, but she's a female wrestler. And she came up to me, and she's like, oh, I met you when I was 8, and now I'm training to be a wrestler. One, I was like, I'm so old because this girl's now 18 years old. And two, it was really incredible. I guess I had met her at a restaurant, and she was telling me when she was 8 years old, I want to be a wrestler, and so she was asking me about it when she was 8, and now she's doing it. So I never take it lightly. I try and remember who is listening and what I'm trying to portray. But I also know, like, everybody makes mistakes, and I've made mistakes in the past as well. And so I want to be a realist to people as well, that it's okay to slip and fall and, say the wrong thing, do the wrong thing, as long as you recover and learn from it. I think that's the biggest thing, because a lot of times if you just focus on your failures, you're never going to get anywhere. You just kind of got to be like, okay, that happened, and now I'm going to learn, and I will move forward from this.
Well, as long as you have that attitude, I guess, because it's been said that professional wrestling is sort of a negative business or whatever. So I think you guys have the right tools, and you're doing great. And I'm speaking about you and your new husband, Mike Bennett. You got married last year. How is married life treating you so far?
Oh, it's wonderful. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better husband. He's a very beautiful man, and I am informed of this on a daily basis from everyone on Instagram and Twitter and every other social media known to man. But he's also very kind, and I think that goes a long way. I think that being a nice person really goes a long way. And the old saying was in wrestling that you had to be a jerk. And I think that Mike and several others that I know are changing that.
Now, what is the biggest thing that has changed with you being married?
Well, now he's breaking stuff. That's changed. I'm just kidding. Currently breaking everything. What happened?
Thanks a lot, Mike. I hope that's not the good china. It better not be.
No, we don't really have good china. We have plates that are used, and that's it. The biggest thing that's changed is we moved in together in January. We hadn't lived together really before. We kind of lived together out in Los Angeles for about 6 months, but this is our first place that we actually picked out together, moved in together, and so we're discovering all kinds of things, like how he hates putting together everything from IKEA, and how I get very picky on how the pillows need to be on the bed when we're making the bed when his mom comes over. So, we're definitely learning all kinds of new things.
Well, if you guys can get through IKEA without getting divorced, then you're definitely doing something right, because Well,
I'll let you know. We're going to IKEA tomorrow. So.
Oh, God. I will suggest the Swedish meatballs in the cafeteria, but other than that...
Swedish meatballs, all right. We will have to test them out.
Yeah, other than that, it's a nightmare in there. The carts, go sideways. You'll think of it tomorrow, but you spoke about Los Angeles. You are obviously an accomplished actress. I just recently watched a few of your Funny or Die episodes, Not That Tom and Jerry. They're pretty amazing, I have to say.
Thank you. It's funny because when I first read the scripts, I'm like, I don't know. Is this really funny? I don't get it. Is it? And then I met the actors and just how good they are. Oh my gosh, Peter, the guy that plays Jerry, he's fantastic. So I didn't realize how good it was actually going to be until I was on set.
Now, Maria, do you have any other projects in the works as far as acting goes right now?
As far as acting goes, no. I kind of just wait and see what's coming up next for me, because for the longest time I was like crazy lady trying every single thing under the sun to find all these projects and things to do and all this stuff, and I just drove myself nuts. Mm-hmm. So I have some great friends that either own production companies or are directors, and so they call me and they're like, hey, I have this thing coming up. Would you be interested? And that's kind of where it ends up happening, is all the networking. But we do have our podcast coming back out. Mike and Maria Wonderland is coming back out, but we moved to the Geek Nation. So we're really excited about that. I think there's something like 20 million unique viewers per month. So we're really excited about that. That should be up in the next week or so. And so Mike and I will be back podcasting.
That is my second favorite podcast, if you can believe it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
I would say number one.
We're excited to come back. I
would say number one, but I'm also a podcaster, so I have to say it, right? You've also spent a lot of time in the recording studio with your music, and I know you're not doing anything else right now. So is there any chance that we'll hear any new music from you anytime soon?
I don't know. I don't like performing music in front of people is what I found. I love to write it. I love being in studio, but as funny as it is, for some reason on stage, I go crazy and I get stage fright or something. So I don't enjoy that part. If that were to ever change, I would love to do it, because writing is just such a relief. But you never know.
Well, have you watched Coyote Ugly? I'm just throwing it out there.
I have. Okay. It's fantastic. And I love that story because I always wanted to write for Pink. Pink was always my female singer that I just loved her. I thought the songs that she sang were great. She just did her own thing, and that was cool too. So I would love to write for her.
So what kind of music are you listening to right now, Maria?
I really love the Congos. I'm Only Joking is like my favorite song that I drive around in. And it's just really like the drums in it are fantastic. And if I was still a dance teacher, that would be the song that I'd want to create a dance to. So when it comes to music if you can work out to it or if you can dance to it, I really enjoy it. But then on Sunday we had Mike's party and we listened to Hawaiian music all day. So really eclectic music. Mike loves Kid Rock and we listen to country. So it's a mix of everything.
Well, I have to say, music, acting, wrestling, is there anything that Maria Kanellis is not good at?
I'm a jack of many trades, but probably an expert at none. I try, but and maybe I do a good job of hiding it. What am I not good at? Let me ask Mike. And I'm really trying hard at school right now, so I've been doing all right at that. What am I not good? Oh, I'm not good at arguing. I'm terrible at arguing because I get vicious. Okay. And Mike always has to be like, okay, just because we're arguing right now does not mean that I'm going to leave you, does not mean that I hate your guts. He's like, we're just arguing. I'm really bad at arguing. Yeah.
Well, that's as of a list of things that you could be bad at, that's not a terrible thing to be bad at. So
we've seen a lot of wrestling autobiographies come out recently. Have you ever thought about just writing your own?
Yes. And Mike is on my case about doing that. And I want to. It's just a matter of finding the right person to write with. Because I want somebody to come from it, or come at it from a really humanistic approach and not a wrestling fan approach. Because I've had a few people that have came up to me and they wanted to write it for me, and I just don't want it to come out as another wrestling autobiography per se. I'd rather it be a life one, because I've been in wrestling for 11 years, but before that, I danced for 17 years. I started at the age of 5, and I did ballet, tap, jazz, all those different classes, and so I did that as well. And then I lived out in LA, and I did the acting, crazy, going from audition to audition, and so I'd rather it be more humanistic than a wrestling side of things. I'd rather put wrestling in a very real tone.
Okay, all right. Now, you'll be joining a very long list of talent of the past and present during the New England Fan Fest this year. It's June 27th at the Providence Convention Center in Rhode Island. Who are you most looking forward to seeing out of the talent that's going to be there? Obviously, you're probably excited to interact with your fans, but we have names like Goldberg, Jim Ross. There's going to be a lot of former divas. Is there anybody that you haven't seen for a while that you're really looking forward to seeing?
Goldberg is a big teddy bear, so every time I see him, he gives the best hug. So I would say Goldberg.
Well, I'm going to take that as a challenge now, because if Goldberg's giving good hugs, I'm going to have to get one from him too, I guess.
He's fantastic. Just big teddy bear.
You thought that I was going to say you, but I had to say Goldberg because Mike is in the room with you.
Oh, well, no, it's okay. Mike is the most unjealous person ever. Sometimes I'm like, are you really with me? Are we really, together? Because that guy just said whatever, and he's like, yeah, whatever.
Now, you're a part of the event last year as well. Is this one of your favorite events that you do during the year?
I do enjoy it. When it comes to signing, this is right up there with WrestleMania weekend for sure.
That's awesome. Now, rumor has it that you'll be taking part of a bikini photo op this year. I was just wanting some clarification. Does that mean that the fans have to wear the bikini, or you're going to be wearing the bikini?
No, the fans do, because I do not have a tan. So these white legs of mine that are so white they kind of resemble blue. I'm not wearing the bikini. It's all the fans. Okay. Please come, men, in your Speedos.
I cannot wait for this now. This is going to be amazing. Last book.
Lightning round.
I am reading The Art of War.
Funniest rumor you have heard about yourself?
Ooh, funniest rumor. Oh my God, let me think. I don't know. I heard at one point that me and Matt Hardy were dating. That was pretty funny.
Wow.
Because at the time I was with somebody else. I was like, is this really happening? I didn't know. Somebody please tell me.
Wow. Guilty pleasure.
Mac and cheese. Just had it today, actually.
Are we talking out of the box, or are we talking just a really good mac and cheese?
Well, if it's out of the box, I like the organic one. I don't know what is the actual name of it. It has a bunny on it.
Yes, okay.
Annie's homegrown, and then I cook delicious baked mac and cheese, so if we're talking about homemade, it's mine.
One thing you still have yet to accomplish in the wrestling business?
One thing, going back to WWE. Okay. That one would be, yeah.
We can't wait to see you at New England Fan Fest. Is there anything recently other than Ring of Honor that's coming up, and where can people keep up with you guys?
I'm on Twitter at Maria L. Kanellis, and I'm on Facebook at Official Maria Kanellis. It's my fan page. If you think you're talking to me, you are not, because I don't talk to anybody on Facebook. So my only Facebook that I talk to, and that is for fans, is Official Maria Kanellis. My personal page you can't get a part of unless you're related to me.
Awesome.
And my Instagram is Maria Kanellis. Mike's is Real Mike Bennett, and that's for Twitter. Hey, babe, what's your Instagram? Huh? The Real Mike Bennett on Instagram. And then he follows everyone on Facebook, so He likes to be friends with everyone, although other people don't like to be friends with him. So there you have it. On Facebook, he will friend you.
Well, when is the podcast coming back?
It should be back within the next week. We're recording it tonight, actually. So I've been on the phone so much today because everybody is very excited about Destination America, and I talked to Ring of Honor earlier today about it and everything. So I'm just going to be recording stuff all day long, and our podcast is one of them.
Awesome. And the last thing that I'm going to ask you, I did this at Danbury, Connecticut for Northeast Wrestling. I'm throwing it out there again. I saw that there's some new members of the Kingdom of Chaos, possibly. So,
yes,
I'm throwing it out there again, and I don't know if I have to get a grassroots movement or what I have to do, but they told me you're the person to talk to. What do I have to do to get into the Kingdom?
I don't know. I mean, we have honorary members at this point. So you can be an honorary member of the Kingdom.
Oh my God, this is the best! I'm gonna bring you so much mac and cheese at the New England Fan Fest.
No, I'll be in my bikini. You can't bring me mac and cheese.
I'm bringing you a case, and that's it. It's settled. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Have a great night. Good luck with the podcast. Good luck with Ring of Honor. Good luck with everything. Happy belated birthday to Mike, and just congrats on all your success.
Thank you so much.